Hey, everyone. This is Andy. This is the Jenga Tower. Jenga Tower. Say hello to everyone. Very good. I feel like you're not as straight as you can be. Jenga Tower. Is that better? That's better. I think that's better. All right. Jenga Tower. Jenga Tower. That's what it is. It's a Jenga Tower. All right. We're just going to start. I don't have my cup of coffee today because yesterday's mishap where two blocks, plural, fell into the cup, into the coffee cup. So I finished my coffee already, my third cup of coffee, and now I'm doing this here. Hope everyone's doing well today. I'm doing abnormally productive. I've been outside for a period of time. Yes, I'm not outside a whole lot. Today I was outside for a walk around the neighborhood, saying that it was about 40 degrees outside. I may even go outside again later on. I don't know. It's a crazy acausal world. All right, up we go. I don't like that bright light in the background. I'm not going to lie to you. So I've been picking on, I can't really say I've been picking on Ted Cruz. I've been satirizing Ted Cruz recently on my blog, Laughing in Disbelief. And that, I'm going to let you all know, has been very satisfying for me personally. Cruz never really ranked high enough on my disgust meter for me to really make fun of him in the past, but this whole thing with him going down to Cancun, that's what tipped me over the edge. So today's Poe I wrote, or satirical article I wrote about Ted Cruz, was about how the police took his dog away from him. And the one that's doing well right now on the blog is about Marriott. Ted Cruz getting all of his Marriott Awards points taken away from him. It's a satirical bit. It's a funny bit. Phil Lister, how you doing, Phil? Just talking about my blog and the satire I write. Ted Cruz is now my newest target. I wouldn't call him a victim because victims, this Ted Cruz, he's an active architect of a-holery. That's what he is, Phil Lister. And as an active creator of being a D-bag, I feel I can make fun of him as much as I want to. I've been given a blank check by life to make fun of Ted Cruz as much as I want to. But he is an easy target. I will say that. Ted Cruz is an easy target. And people seem to want to hear about things happening, bad things happening to Ted Cruz too. So even if it's only satirical, it's fun to write. And I think people find it fun to read too. Da, da, da. I'm going to be on the Free Thought Profit podcast this Sunday. I just found this out. The guys just asked me from Free Thought Profit, and we're going to be talking about the AAI, Atheist Alliance International, and the International Atheist Alliance fiasco that's been going on. My buddy, John Hamill, good guy. He has all kinds of inside information. And we're going to be talking about that. Hey, tons of mice. Baseball, American Pie, and slamming the Cruz. The American way. It really is. And I make a few shekels off it too, to tell you the truth. not only does the blog allow me to heap all kinds of abuse on to people who so deserve it, but I get to make a couple of shekels, a couple of pennies off it too. So I'm not unhappy about that. Dude, Phil, I mean, all right, I know that's German. The Monk, man, I don't even know. And I'm assuming that is football, as in not American football, as in with your feet. My boat's in the marina, not the football game. Nice that you got a boat. I have a buddy, Paul Duncan, who's been on the channel. He writes a satirical blog, The Out and Abouter. He's actually a captain of a pleasure boat or of a private yacht, and he basically boats around the world. He has quite a fun time doing it too. And he's a very nice person. So on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to be on the Free Thought Prophet about Atheist Alliance, the recent legal issues with the International Alliance, Atheist Alliance organization, about the IAA taking the email list from the AAI. And if it sounds like a cluster F, then it is a cluster F. You cruise in the Baltic, you see all the Baltic countries. You get your Lithuania, your Estonia, and your Latvia there, huh? Do you speak any of those languages, Phil? I mean, it sounds pretty cool, to tell you the truth. I've heard that it's a beautiful area. Sometimes I confuse Latvia with the Marvel Universe fictitious country, Latveria, where Doctor Doom lives and rules. So I always have to check myself first before I mention the name Latvia, make sure I'm not saying Latveria. I want Phil's life. Yeah, you speak Latvian. Excellent. Swedish, Finnish, Russian, and German. Wow. Well, that's like many more languages than I do. I will tell you that right now. Now, Finnish is its own particular weird language, isn't it? Oh, you once lived with the Latvian, huh? I've heard that Finnish is its own kind of branch of its own one language. It's not really an Indo-European country language, from what I understand. And so it isn't really similar to Swedish, Russian, or German, or Latvian, from what I understand. Maybe I'm wrong. I know that Tolkien was a big fan of the Finnish language. So it is. So that's the name of the where it's from like the root is Ugaric. I'll go with Ugaric. That sounds, it's fun. It's more entertaining to say. I'll say that, Ugaric. So I will say this. I'm paranoid, as many of you know. I have a paranoid streak in me. It's manageable. The comedy helps kind of ameliorate it. It kind of gives me some perspective. But man, living that close to Russia, Finnish is more common with Inuit. Oh, that's interesting, right? So the Laplanders, right? The Laplanders up in the Arctic Circle. Well, they have Finnish, right? So that's interesting. I imagine up in the north is a purer form or an older form of Finnish than in the southern areas, because the southern areas have had more interactions with foreigners, while the northern parts are more rural, from what I understand, being closer to the Arctic Circle. All the language along the Russian coast. Gotcha. So there is a Russian naval base that used to be Königsberg in Germany. It's that little piece of Russia, or that little territory Russia owns, that I think juts between Poland, and I don't know which one of the Baltic states that is. I know that was Königsberg, before the Soviets took it over, or before the Russians owned it, took ownership of it. Man, how did it get so wobbly this early? I don't know. I don't know how did it get so wobbly this early. I had a buddy who was Königsberg, now Kaliningrad. That's right. Looking back at the 1990s, it really does seem like a halcyon age, like a wondrous age, because the Soviets were gone, Chinese weren't threatening too much. They really weren't threatening places like Taiwan too much, or at least they didn't have the strength to really do anything about it. It was really the height of the Pax America, the peace of America. Not so much more. Not so much now. More of a multipolar world. Of course, it's very American-centric of me to say it was a halcyon age, right? How about that? How am I going to move it? That's hilarious, Phil. When a fan says I love you, it sounds like a demand for money by Wednesday or else. Sweet, sweet. There was a trade union around the Baltic. I forget what the name of the trade union was. It was during the early Middle Ages that really dominated trade. It was wealthy. It was more of a confederation, I think, of families and interests. I forget the name of it. And Gotland, doesn't Sweden have an island somewhere in the Baltic Sea there? It's of course off the coast of Sweden. I think it's Gotland or something like that. The Hanseatic League. Thank you very much, Phil Lister. The Hanseatic League in Gotland. Right. The Hanseatic League. Thank you. See, I feel good. I'm relearning some information that was stuck somewhere in the back of my head. I hadn't read about it for the Hanseatic League. I haven't read about that for quite a while. With the apocalypse and everything, my brain's been kind of focused on current affairs, the basic atheism and stuff like that, right? I mean, when you do, I feel, Scotland, yeah. When I feel like I have to be competent, and of course, in comedy, where they speak a dialect, I can't feel. Really, Gotland is has its own little dialect, huh? That's interesting. So is it? So now I'm curious about what dialect they do speak on Gotland. If it's a if it's a Swedish dialect, or if it's based in Finn or another language. I know that it has. I think Gotland's been pretty much owned by Sweden for a long period of time, but I'm not absolutely sure. Hey, Theo. Theoretically speaking, just talking about the Baltic Sea. Phil's like Phil Lister is boating around the Baltic, talking about obscure language. Well, obscure for me because I'm an American, and anything non-American seems obscure. I'm on the southern side of Germany, on the Swiss border. Bavaria, is that Bavaria, Theo? I'm making guesses here. That's what I'm doing. I'm making stabs in the dark about my knowledge of German uh, geography. Oh, maybe you're in Switzerland proper. In that case, you won the. You got either you were born lucky to be there or you moved there. Either way, job well done. Switzerland is one of the not a bad. You know, the funny thing about Switzerland, from what I understand, right? Yeah, exactly. I'm on the Swiss side, but Bavaria is close. Hey, I feel wow. You know, I feel really good about my knowledge about geography now, because I thought Bavaria was on that southern part. Yeah, yeah. I heard that Switzerland still has a lot of these hidden bunkers saved from the Cold War era. Like they would just put like artillery pieces and hide them in fake barns. Oh, you're born in Basel, border with France and Germany. That's where they do the Wagner, right? Isn't Basel? That's where they do the whole Wagner ring thing every year. Is that what I understand it? I don't know. I'm really pulling out some memories here, some of the deep files. Greasy. Who is it? Rick Steves, the NPR guy who goes around traveling. I think it was a document. I think it was one of his shows that he was going through Switzerland and showing some of the hidden fortifications of the country. I thought it was very interesting. No, that's Austria. Oh, okay, Vienna. Okay, gotcha. Basel is where the Bank of International Settlements is. The evil World Bank. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear that's where the Jewish space lasers shoot up into space. My girlfriend and I have looked at places, defense in depth. Indeed. You know what you're talking about, Phil Lister, defense in depth. Out of the countries my girlfriend and I look at in terms of where we're going to retire at someday, at some time, if they exist, they operate from here, I guess, right? if there, we've been looking, even though I'm not going to retire for a while, and neither is my girlfriend. There are countries we like to think about where we would either retire to or flee to. And Ireland is on the list. Spain was on the list before. We heard some things about Spain regarding the COVID epidemic, and I think I don't remember what it was, but Spain got knocked off our list. But Ireland seems to be a pretty cool place to be. Yeah, Switzerland, indeed. I heard in World War II there was some accidental bombing of Swiss airstrips by the U.S., just as there were accidental bombings in Sweden of areas that were used by or were helpful to the German war effort. Ireland, ultra good place, but it rains. I don't mind the rain, to tell you the truth. I don't mind the rain. The times I've spent in London, the rain didn't bother me. And isn't global warming drying everything out there? Yeah, and the Swiss even took down some Allied airplanes. Yeah, well, right. I mean, sure. It makes sense if your country is officially neutral and there are planes coming in, war planes, then you should be shooting them down. That only makes sense. Yes. Yeah, I put accidentally in air quotes because there was definitely some planning involved in the bombing of certain sites in Switzerland as well as Sweden. And the Bank of International Settlements did business between the U.S., FD, yeah. Dark history, I'm sure. Well, Switzerland accepted the gold of Judith. Yeah. I think we were talking about this before. I heard that women weren't allowed to vote in Switzerland until 1974, was it? We're allowing German army movement. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Oh. That didn't work out, did it? That did not work out. Oh, it was a good run. It was a good run while it lasted. All right. Now comes the most fascinating part of Jenga, is picking up these pieces off the floor. Yeah. Even in 1990, Theo, it's 71. Thank you, Phil. Wow. Well, that's right. From what I understand, Switzerland is a federated country. So I imagine a lot of the cantons have a fair amount of control over local matters. All right, I'll be right back. I got to go around the other way. Now back to football. Indeed, enjoy. Stretch. Da, 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 da. Cantons equal states. That's what I guessed it was like. Yeah. How many of those cantons are in Switzerland? I'm curious. I remember seeing maps of Switzerland with, it looked like there was a lot of cantons, but I never really took an accounting of how many there were or how many there are. 26. Interesting. I'm guessing that Switzerland has a parliamentary system. Similarly, half cantons, Basel City and Basel Country. Interesting. I did not know that. I'm learning all kinds of things today. As I recall, the pike was instrumental, the weapon, the pike, was instrumental in maintaining Swiss independence during the Middle Ages. Yes, parliamentary system with Congress like the USA, but more direct democratic power. Right. Yeah, more direct democratic power. That would be nice. Here. So about pikes, I remember reading about, I don't know, a while back, that pikes or pikemen, squads, phalanxes of pikes, pikemen wielding these huge pikes, were instrumental in fighting off heavy cavalry, keeping Switzerland independent. We can vote against laws collecting signatures or initiate on constitutional articles. Very nice. Very nice. It's funny. I had Howie, the person who leads the Green Party, pretty much, Howie Hawkins, on the channel a couple of times. But we use it for questionable decisions. Howie Hawkins from the Green Party here in the States, he came on my channel a couple of times, and he explained on both occasions how difficult it is for a third-party candidate to get on the ballot here in this country. And it's crazy. The barrier to getting on the ballot in other countries much lower, much, much lower. Having worked on campaigns to get signatures on different initiatives, it's almost like the system here in the States is rigged to keep common people from putting things on the ballot. What did I just do? Did I just like pull this? All right. Dun, 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 dun. Want more military jets? Yeah, please want UBI. No, scared one. Scared. Now, what's the population of Switzerland? I know Scotland has like, what, 5 million people? Iceland has 500,000 people. That doesn't count. That just slipped off. The whole tower is still standing, everyone. Come on. No one wants universal basic income in Switzerland, huh? I heard about the forbidding of building Muslim mosques in Switzerland. I get The Economist magazine, and when I wasn't getting it, I was reading it. I would go to my local bookstore and just sit down and thumb through the volume. And I remember hearing something about a restriction of mosque building in Switzerland. That's what the Swiss decided. I'm always baffled. The border regions are open, but the central is total right wing. It may, in a way, the more different people that you come across, it's the question between urbanization versus people living in rural areas to some extent, I would guess. And tell me if I'm wrong on this. If you're living in a border area, you are coming across people who are not as much like you. And so just by that, you become more liberal in an outlook. So like if you're living in a city, typically people are more liberal in cities because they're exposed to many different types of people as against to people in rural areas where it's fairly homogeneous. Yeah, it's a matter of being used to strangers. Right. Yeah. If you live close with others, you lose the angst and the unknown. You're right about that. You're right. Hey, the girlfriend, I find that border states in the U.S. are actually less liberal. Well, that's because, okay, so let's think about the border states. I think that they're less liberal because they're more rural. In Switzerland, that may not be the case because, our border states like Maine, Michigan, Montana, Idaho, those states are typically rural, just rural all the way through. Like you look at maybe Washington State, the coast is more liberal and it pushes the whole state into being a more liberal area. In the USA, the coast is liberal and the middle is conservative. Yeah, by and large. And also, you think about the states. See, now, this is an interesting topic. The girlfriend is that the country that people are bordering up in the north, of course, is Canada. And while most of the population of Canada is down south by the U.S. border, there still isn't a lot of people. I think Canada only has like 26 million people spread out on that 3,000-mile border or so. So yeah, I think it's different with Switzerland because there's probably more urban areas around the border of Switzerland. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just making spitballing these ideas out. Ooh, hey. Theo, I have to tell you, there's a lot of people in the NRA who use Switzerland as an argument for gun rights or for everyone to have a gun. The popular line from like the NRA is that everyone in Switzerland has an automatic weapon and they work fine there and things are fine. That's what a lot of people in the NRA say. Common bit of talking points from the NRA. The rural areas are in the center. Yeah. I can see that. No, it's funny. When Phil was around, I was talking about my reticence about maybe living in the Baltic states, one of the Baltic states, because it's too close near to Russia. And then I thought, I bet a lot of people feel like that about America. Don't want to live too close to this country, to the United States, because it's kind of crazy. And then I thought to myself, wow, maybe I'm living too close to America, to the United States of America. And I'm a little anxious from that. And then I realized, well, I live in the United States of America. I was like, yeah, that could be the case of some of my anxiety. Yeah, but we also have to forbid keeping guns and ammo together, and every weapon needs to be registered on a federal level. That's how I understand it too. The stuff that comes out of the NRA, unsurprisingly, is a distortion of the truth. You know what I would like, what I'd be interested in if I had the ability to take a poll of the American population. I would like to ask them, how many dragons do you believe live in Switzerland? And I know it's an absurd question, but I'm going to guess there's at least 5, maybe 3 to 5% of the population think that there are dragons in Switzerland. If you were going, I mean, yeah, I think maybe that much. My British golf buddy calls it county. Wow. Indeed. This country being the U.S. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Gonna turn this around and see if I can get something better. Yeah, Swiss and more hunters are sporting marksmen, not the same gun enthusiasm. There's not the same level. People don't fetishize guns over there, I'm sure, as much as Americans do. See, I don't even know why I'm doing this, because it's not going to make it look any better. Here, go. Switzerland is not imperious and don't want to be conquerors like the people of big nations, more like a bunker. Oh, yeah. Well, that seems to be the strategy of how the Swiss have conducted themselves, more of a defense in depth. Hello, Derek Cruz. More of a defense in depth, and not going out on any kind of crazy. Like, for example, I've never heard like the golden age of Swiss imperialism. I've heard about, I know that Sweden had a golden age had an age of imperialism. Poland, the Polish-Lithuanian Federation there, state. The Poles had their time in the sun dominating and doing crazy imperialistic things. I've never heard the Swiss doing that. The only thing I've heard the Swiss are in terms of, the military stuff just seems to be very defensive, which is wise. That's how you stay a unified country over time, when you have crazy neighbors. Now that's interesting. Doesn't the cross on the Swiss flag stand for neutrality and not the Christian cross? No, when you're small, you're only concerned with not being conquered. Very good. Good point. You've got a big nation that's seducing to become megalomaniac, and try to expand into an empire. True. What I always find intriguing is when I hear this kind of blathering from, white people here, or some white people here in this country, right? About how minorities are violent. And it's like, have you looked at history? Have you looked at history? Us Caucasians have been able to exact a remarkable amount of violence on ourselves and everyone else around ourselves. Just talking about, violence, a penchant, a propensity for violence. Oh, now this is interesting. It's an old symbol of the very first canton of Switzerland, which is called Schwiz. Sounds like a comedy bit, Theo. Schwiz. Three cantons swore each other loyalty against the empires. That's our foundation, sir. Very good. Yeah. Switzerland grew up in a tough neighborhood. Switzerland did. Had to take care of itself. More like Schweetz. That's hilarious, Theo. Schweetz. Kind of like sweet. But Schweetz. Very nice. Perfect. Well, that's what we aim for here. Perfect towers and perfect pronunciations of Swiss cantons. To tell you the truth, whether it's whether you're a person or a country, a small country, the secret of deterring bullies is to make yourself a hard target in a lot of ways, right? To give the impression that, hey, it isn't worth it. Whatever you're thinking about doing to me, it's not worth your time or your trouble. Let's see. Imaginary God Swiss Confederate troops started using a white cross on red background as their battlefield. Oh, no. After being defeated by the French in 1515, Swiss pledged eternal neutrality. Interesting. Now you said Switzerland in a perfect Swiss-German dialect. Excellent. Get a golden star. Oh yeah, right. You got to be diplomatic, right? You got to be diplomatic. You hear the history of Germany before World War One, and not the best diplomats there. The Kaiser Wilhelm, right? Not the best diplomat, king, ruler. Didn't think all of his actions through. No, better than British bullseye target on their RAF planes. Yeah, it does seem odd to have a bullseye on your plane, unless it's a hardened position, right? Like full of armor, where it's like, hey, how about you shoot here, not the gas tank or the engine? But I don't think that was the case. That was just a target. Yes, Theo, I did know that the Swiss rented out their pikemen, right? Their pikemen as mercenaries. Well, simply secular. You come this late in the Jenga game, then you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what. This is my second tower. What have we talked about? The Baltic. We talked about a lot of things. We've talked about a lot of things. Then the empires wanted to keep the mercenary country neutral, so others don't have it. Yeah. I can see that. The thing is about mercenary armies. I remember, who was it? It was the White Company, I think, during the 100 Years' War. That I think they were a British company, man, headed by someone. I think it was Hawkmoon. That was his last name, and I think he took over a part of France. Because the French were hiring mercenaries, maybe, or a certain area of France were hiring mercenaries, and the Swiss guards, of course, and guard the Vatican with those lovely pole arms. And only Napoleon conquered Switzerland, tried to make it centralistic, but failed because Swiss cantons are hard to unite. It just shows you the megalomaniacal nature of Napoleon. It's like, so where are we going next, boss? We are going to conquer Switzerland. Really? Why? Why would you do that? It seems like a waste of time and manpower. Because I'm Napoleon. I can do whatever I want. Next week, we're invading Russia. Swiss Guards uniforms are fabulous. This is true. There is the helmet and the puffy and the breastplates, right? They have breastplates. Yes, Napoleon was a classic, effective, centralistic emperor type. Yeah. That doesn't work with people totally local patriotic stubborn Swiss people. I can see that. Striped parachute pants with puffy balls on shoes. Can't make that stuff up. Would have liked to have been in the design meeting for the uniforms. It's like, okay, puffy balls on the shoes. That's what we need. That's going to completely top off the striped parachute pants. The mirror is back. Yes, the mirror is back. Ba, 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 ba. Hey, Paul Kamish. I'm just talking about Switzerland and, well, everything, basically. We're just talking about everything. And then every leader enjoyed Swiss neutrality as safe space for their conferences or fortunes. Yes. There were Bolsheviks, an emigre population of Mensheviks and Bolsheviks and other social revolutionaries from Russia hanging out in Switzerland. Lenin was there, and the Germans railroaded him up through Germany, through Sweden, as I recall, and into Russia during World War I. My mailman, oh man, here it comes. My mailman was just going on and on about a local store was out of ammo. And I guess he was planning to conquer the post office. Oh man. That's what you want. That's what you want your postman to be really into is needing to stock up on his ammo. I would want my mailbox to be as far away from my house as possible in that situation. Like, yeah, you can just put the mail in the box. That's fine. This was in my BillPhil, the Communist Congress took place. Yep, and the manifesto was written by Marx. Indeed. Now, I thought the manifesto was written in London. I thought Marx and Engels were in London while they did a lot of party conferences in Switzerland, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I know that Lenin was hanging around in Switzerland, and that a lot of the, like I said, the emigres from Tsarist Russia were in Switzerland doing their thing, writing papers and such. Postman, here's your copy of Guns and Arrows. It was open already, and a week late. Have a nice day. Mailman is a big Trumpster. Well, yeah, yeah. Okay, right. London and Basel, several congresses and manifestos. Right. Funny story. And tell me if I'm wrong on this, Theo, because you probably know more about this than I do. The Bolsheviks basically means the major party. The Mensheviks were the minor party. But the thing is that the Bolsheviks were actually, in number, a smaller party than the Mensheviks. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm talking about this. But the thing is that in one of the party congresses, the Mensheviks didn't show up, and the Bolsheviks got to brand themselves, and then they said, we are the major party. And that might have happened in Basel. I'm surprised the tower's still standing, to tell you the truth. Oh. Yeah, that's a. Wow, how about that? Epic height. That's what we have. It was a great documentary, dude. I've seen that. I've seen Apocalypse, World War I, Imaginary God. 4 hours explaining the monarchs and economics of the time. Dan Carlin of Hardcore History, a podcast, did like 5 3-hour long episodes on the topic. But I've seen Apocalypse, World War I. It is worth watching. One of the things, right? Funny thing about World War I Apocalypse. Shackled to a corpse. German officers referred to their allies, the Austro-Hungarians, so incompetently that Germany was fighting the war as if it was shackled to a corpse, which was the Austro and Hungarian Empire. That term, shackled to a corpse, really resonated with me. It's like, this is not the kind of business partnership I ever want to be into. Though I would say that there have been several romantic relationships I've been involved with that I felt like I was shackled to a corpse. Dark, turning it dark right there. Yeah, the Russian Revolution was violent. Many had to seek asylum in Switzerland or UK to work on their ideas. Indeed. Yeah, World War I Apocalypse. Anyone who's watching this, it's definitely worth your time if you're into world history. I don't feel that's going to work. Is that going to work? This seems to be workable, and it seems that it is. Yeah, so I was talking about this podcast yesterday, Revolutions, and they're just going over the Russian Revolution right now. There's like maybe 40 episodes. Each episode's about 30, 40 minutes long. Definitely worth your time if you're interested in that topic. And the man covers other revolutions too. He did a previous podcast called Rome, the history of Rome, which was an excellent podcast too. When the blocks, I know it's simply secular. It's eerily close. the first half of the 20th century would have been a good time for God to chime in. Yeah, it would have been nice for the invisible hand there to have done something productive besides, setting up a system in Europe that seemed to be destined to explode. There we go. Well, the good thing is that everyone learned the lesson in World War I, and they made sure such a disaster wouldn't happen again. I feel pretty cheeky if I try to get this one out. I don't know if I feel that confident. Oh, hey, look at that. Still standing shackled to a corpse will now play their new hit, Destined to Explode. Oh, tons of mice. Well said, well said. First half includes World War II, true enough. Most big countries are entangled into some noble family claims, aristocracy, and other problem, where Switzerland has a good neutral zone. Yeah. There's actually, in this week's Economist magazine, in the back page, there's a chart, I think, of the royal house, one of the Habsburgs, a wing of the Habsburg monarchy that was ruling Spain for a while. All that inbreeding, the Medicis. I don't know. The Habsburgs, I think, were the ones that were really inbred. And I haven't taken a look at it yet. I was just perusing past it before I came on this show. Look at that. It is majestic, if I do say so myself. Yeah, if you're in Sweden, UK, Denmark, Austria, Germany, everywhere has some nobility claims. I can see that. Yeah. I have to tell you, ever since the presidency of Donald J. Trump occurred, I'm a little less cheeky about applauding the merits or lauding the merits of republics. Kind of toned that down a bit. Of course, there's no government system that ever developed that can save people from themselves. With that being said, like I said, Donald J. Trump has kept my pro-republic, though I still think republics are a better system than monarchies or constitutional monarchies. Oh, definitely legitimate authoritarian states. First had, World War I and set up World War II, no doubt about that, Derek Cruz. First half had chemical, biological, and nuclear war, as well as industrialized genocide and mass god. Yeah. It had like quantum theory in the first half. That was good. In relativity, right? So there were some bright parts of the first half of the 20th century. Beautiful, if I do say so myself. World War I was imperial by its nature. Yeah, actually, it's interesting to put on my geek hat a little bit tighter when you look at for the Franco-Prussian War in 1871, and that kind of fed into a lot of what partially fed into World War I, and then into World War II. The Franco-Prussian War in 1871. The Franco-Prussian War, yeah, basically established Germany as a unified country, but the Germans just screwed the French with a huge war indemnity and took a piece of territory. They took Alsace-Lorraine, right? The Germans, even though Bismarck was telling the Kaiser at the time, listen, you don't want to take any territorial bits of France because it's just going to cause bad blood. Just be thankful for having your own country. The Kaiser's like, I didn't fight this war not to get land. So yeah, so that helped create the bad blood that led into World War I. Yeah, indeed, Theo. Yeah, they're right. Have you ever watched the Oversimplified channel? Yes, it is. Yes, I have watched that. Imaginary God. I've watched the Oversimplified stuff. What that offers me, at least, is like a gateway into understanding something new, something I didn't know. What helps, review some basic stuff on what I already know. Oversimplified, like they do Oversimplified World War II, Oversimplified blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's a good channel. I think I might be at a new record, everyone who's watching. It's taken from the Swiss cross, but red, not white. And now everyone thinks the white cross on red, our flag, means medic care. How about that? Yo, Kevin Chaos. Love the K, love the chaos. That's what she sends you. How many levels do we have? Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. 29 is not that bad. Put that mirror on the bookshelf. Oh, well, that's probably not a bad idea, actually. See, you get the... No. Well, I'm going to keep it right here. I'm going to focus on the game. I'm going to focus on the tower itself. Tomorrow, I'll think about putting it up there and then I'll see what I can do. Maybe the bookshelf. Maybe if I move the table closer to the bookshelf, maybe that would do the trick too. So I'm dropping a new short, 35-second short video covering the woman who had her kids kicked out of the Catholic school because she has an OnlyFans account. When I do these shorts, I'm just trying to get new subscribers and new people interested in the channel. So I know we covered the story on the morning show, but I thought it would still be worth doing a short video about it. Oh, how about that? Maybe next time, exactly. Oh, I got this right here. What I grew up on, talking about, I'm buying a Jenga game. There is a link in the description. And if you use the link, it doesn't cost you anything more. It goes to Amazon, and I get a small percentage. Not a lot, a couple of pennies. But if you want to... Oh, no. Oh, it was so good. It was so good while it lasted, everyone. I know. We are a young species in terms of our time on the planet, Theo, and we are still finding our way. If we ever do find our way, I don't know if we ever will. Everyone, thanks for showing up. Did some pretty epic conversations as well as some epic towers. I'll be back here tomorrow, 9 a.m., talking news. That's what you get for mentioning Amazon. Oh, yeah, that's right. That is correct. So I'm dropping a video tonight, like a 35-second video meant for the shorts, meant for the short shelf, which YouTube's still pushing, I believe. So I'm dropping that tonight. I'm doing the morning show tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. approximately. Saturday, I'm doing Atheist Drinking Out Loud, which is always epic, my friends. It's always epic. And that's at 5 p.m. Eastern here. And Sunday night, I'm a guest on someone's show. Oh, on the Free Thought Prophet. It got a lot of things going on. And of course, my blog, Laughing in Disbelief. If you want to read something funny, if you want to see the kind of crap I pull on the blog, it's not unfunny. That's how I look at it. I'm much more popular in writing than I am here on this platform, but that may change. Who knows? Thanks again. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Yes, I know, right? That's 6 a.m. Pacific time. That's right. Be strong. See that? I think that might have come off wrong. I don't know. Say goodbye, Blocky. Goodbye, Blocky.